Hey, what's going on, guys? Trevor with Silver State RC Adventures, bringing you the next video for the SCX10.3 build series. Today we're going to be going over Bag F, and not really too much mentioned in there, but you can see it by the pictures. You will start implementing the K bag, which will be your frame rails. Looks like we're going to start getting this truck into shape here, taking form, and getting ready to reveal it to you guys and get on the trails and have some fun with it. So, without further ado, let's get into these bags here, get our little introduction for the next build in the series going, and then, yeah, let's just get right into it. We'll show you guys what it looks like getting together. So, crack open to the F bag here for all the fun we will be having. Voila! Lots of goodness in there. Lots of goodness. Alright, so you can just kind of start getting everything a little organized here, but it looks like you got your side skid plates here. I believe this is like a rear brace back there in the back half area. This is, I believe, the front plate in between the chassis where your servo goes and things like that. Looks like your center skid for your transmission. And the links. Got some shock towers here. Shock towers. That'll be the pan-hardened mount we will not be using because it will be time to use the one from the solid axle kit. We'll be using that guy so we can actually do this. Pull him out. Add him to that part stack there. And we can throw the other one with all the other stuff we did not use. So that way if I decide to go to portals, I have everything I need right there. All in one baggie. Spare hardware. That'll be left over. I don't know if I necessarily need to use it or if everything in here is correct, but we'll figure it out as we get into the manual part. But yeah, it looks like we got a bumper mount, front or rear, one of the two. Rear, I think. Yeah, rear, and this one's front. Bag of screws for everything we will be assembling. 23 tooth metal servo horn. So you will need a 25 tooth if you bought a servo that has a 25 tooth on it. If you have one that's 23, you can use the one that came in the kit. I will not be using this one because I have a 25 tooth metal servo horn for the ProTech 370 TVL we will be installing in this portion because it's going to go on this dude here. I'll go on that guy and he'll mount like right on there somewhere like that, you know. So we get to install this sweet servo ProTech 370L black label. I love this thing. Got a few of them now and they're amazing servos. So if you need a recommendation, ProTech RC is a phenomenal choice. Then I went ahead and got some of these aluminum servo grommets with hardware there. That way you can just make it look easy peasy going in and kind of stylistic type things, you know. Give it a little style, give it a little style. 25 servo horn there, tooth metal one. Got some link mounts. That will be going on to... Oh no, oh wait, what? There's two of them. Ah, I didn't even notice that. So there is a 25 tooth that comes with it. Ha ha! Didn't even notice there was two in the bag when I first looked at it. But, comes with 23 and 25 tooth. Never mind, scratch all that. Told you we'd look a little ridiculous on live camera. So, it is supplied with 23 and 25 tooth metal servo horns for you to use. So we'll keep those guys right over here. We can actually just set the 23 tooth off the side because I do not need it. I have 25 tooth. Alright, looks like a couple other bracket majigger things, body post thingamajigger, probably for the rear end, probably for the front end, maybe, yeah, front end probably, rear end, whatever, shock towers, link mounts, something mounts, bumper mounts, skid plate, belly center, tranny, skid plate majigger, servo mount, rear chassis majigger, and some side plates that'll go on the frame rail there, so you can mount some electronics. If you have any electronics that need to be mounted over there, receiver box, ESC, things like that. And then, yes, like I said, your screws here. So we got all that kind of looking cool there. And K-bag right here. So we just go like that, huh? Yeah. Alright, hey, we got some frame rails. Two pieces, because it is adjustable length. So, you know, go like that. If you want to extend it, shorten it, extend it, shorten it, extend it, shorten it, you can do all that. That's the luxury of having a kit like this. So, yeah. Alright, already pre-opened looking arrangement there. Cool. Alright. Yes. Frame rails. Yep. So that's everything when we get to this portion of the manual. That's your F stuff. K. You will need your steering servo at this point. My motor ESC option has came into stock, so now I can order that. And we can get a motor ESC assembled to this transmission as well now. And I'll be able to get my receiver, receiver, ordered as well, so I can have all the electronics ready. And then a few other little tidbits, and then yeah, I'll have everything ready to rock and roll, to assemble, and have a final product. Pretty stoked about all that, but yeah. Steering servo is needed for this portion. That's already not included for the bag. That's everything, guys. That's the breakdown here of all that. Obviously, you will need your trusty SCX10.3 builder's manual. Get you through the whole process. But other than that, guys, let's start getting this thing to take some shape now. After we got all the little tedious bits all done up. We got the transmission, the drive shafts, we got the shocks built, we got the solid axles that are already pre-built for us. So, you know, those will just be together and we'll just lube them up as needed and things like that. But, yeah, stay tuned, guys. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel, watching the content, sharing the content, commenting, all that good stuff. You know, really appreciate your support. Like I said, it's awesome. I truly enjoy it, and I like providing this content here for you guys. So yeah, stay tuned. We'll get everything going, and I hope you love the build, guys. All right, guys. Yeah. Now we are into getting some stuff together here. I'm going to start with the F1 section. Right here in your manual, it's going to state that as the upper link mount assembly. So, you have your center skid plate. These are going to be your 3 link mounts. This one's for the front upper. The other 2 are for the rear upper. I went ahead and just guided them on already off camera just because I saw it like that, and I was like, let's snap them on. So I did so. I'm gonna grab your upper link here. Alright. That's gonna slide right into here. Plastic's gonna be a little, probably just exact, so I'll just be a little finicky to get in, but you know, it'll slide right in. It's going to tell you to place it on this bottom hole. Yeah, so out of the 3 there, you're going to place it on the lower 3rd hole there. Alright, and you're going to grab an M3 by 14 millimeter screw, button head. It'll be Axial10.3 in the manual. It looks like these screws are pretty exact to what they're showing in the picture, so you can just kind of measure them up, see which ones are the exact size you need to use them. So I kind of already separated out the ones for F1 and F2. We'll do that. I'll stop the video and then I'll get everything assorted, just kind of speed things up and clean things up a little bit in the video. So we'll do F1, F2, cut, go into the next portion, cut, so on and so forth. Try and make it easy peasy. But got the link slid in there. I'm going to grab a 2mm hex driver. And going to grab some of this Vaseline here as well, because the plastics are a little tough. So you can just get a little bit on the threads. Get your screw ready, and it looks like it's going to tell you to put it in from the inside. Alright, so it'll go in down here. Make sure it's lined up, you can see through. And yeah, it looks all good. Go ahead and guide your screw through. Start screwing slowly. It's going to be a tough plastic, as I told you. That's why we're going to use some of this Vaseline to help. And I'll just take it off here too as well. Make it a little easier to grab the link mount. Start screwing away. Screwing away. This side, make sure it's lined up. Still. That way it can go right through. Back it out a little bit, because this wasn't aligned just right. Oh well. Go ahead. Rod end back in through there. Make sure it's lined up. Let's try again. I think we're good this time, folks. Yeah, Vaseline definitely helps this plastic thread a little bit better. Get a nice little snug. Once it stops, it stops. Plastic will hold. You don't got to over tighten it or anything, so don't worry about trying to squeeze its guts out. Oh, maybe I didn't. Maybe I separated the whole entire thing. Good thing this plastic's strong, huh? And break it. Wow. Make sure it's all lined up properly again. Got it this time, folks. Yeah, we got it this time, folks. Yep. Alright, much better. Got a little towel, just kind of clean up a little excess around the ring area right there. Some might come out. Alright, I think we have it properly done this time. Yep, alright. There's the front one. Like I said, plastic's a little tough. But that's good. It'll be one just like now. Alright. And then time to do the rear uppers. So rear upper. You want to have your curved rod ends there. So looks like for the upper ones on the inside, where they go, you'll want the curve towards the inside, like this. It's showing. Yeah. Yeah, you'll want the curvedness on the inside, or going towards the inside. Just guide this little puppy in his home, wherever it wants to fit in. All right. And it looks like it'll be the lower third hole for these ones as well. Let's get that lined up. It'll screw in from the inside. Again. A little of this Vaseline going. Get a lube action going. A little lube action going. Alright, just make sure where it goes like that, so that way we can get it going from the inside correctly. Just get it slowly, a little pressure, so that way you can get it going a little straight, because you don't want the thread crooked. Just make sure it's lined up. That way it can go through just fine. Alright, I think it's lined up on that right there properly. And I just gotta make sure it's lined up over here properly, so it'll screw through just fine the first time, hopefully. Alright, attempt number 1. Make sure it's all lined up properly. That way we don't have any issues. good. Got that one there. Slide him back on like that. That way it'll just kind of start looking like that. Grab the other one. I'll do the same thing over here. That one was actually pretty stiff to put on. Looks like it's going to be a little stiff to get off. There we go. Make sure curve part's towards the inside of the chassis, or what will be the chassis once it's there. There we go. And grab your last M3x14 here. Fluids. That sure won't hurt, right? Actually makes this journey so much easier. Too many dirty jokes to go with that one too, huh? Trying to keep this thing aligned. Let's do. Alright. Third one done there. Just snap it back into place. Like I said, getting kind of tight. Could be good, could be bad, who knows? Who knows? There we go. Alright, so we've got those done like that. Looks good, right? Looks good. That's what I think. Alright, so we'll move on to what they call F2 here on the page, which is going to be securing these onto the skid there. So an M3x8 is going to go on output to be. Right, areas here. For the shorter side. So you'll grab some of these ones, then 3 and 8. Put those towards the front. Oops, probably got a little bit of gasoline on threads. Now with this process here. It's a little snugness, nothing crazy yet until we get the other ones screwed in. Oh yeah, this Vaseline just makes everything so much more easier. Little hidden pockets. The last one is an M3 by 8s. Alright. Next we'll do the M3 by 10s. That'll complete these little portions right here, it looks like, maybe? Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. Ah. Alright. We'll go towards the back, which is kind of like the taller part. Longer screw for the taller looking part. Looks like in the manual, this front upper link has got a mislabel. Things like telling you to put the long AX115 up front and the small M3 by 8 in the rear, but it should be the M3 because it shows that for the rear uppers like that, so I'm just going to follow those ones, and what looks like makes sense. I think it was like another error in the manual, I think, anyways, when I was looking over some of the mishaps on the Facebook page for the SCX10.3 owners. So keep that in mind when you get to this part. Other than that, everything's correct and should go as the manual says here. So just the one little slight thing I noticed, and I think it did show that, so keep it in mind. Okay. tighten down. A little bit more. I didn't stop all the way, just want to make sure we can get the other ones in too. Let's just snug those ones, just take the top ones just in case. It gave it a little bit of extra slack to tighten with. Alright, so those are good. Next, we're going to throw some M3 by 18s in next. That'll hold on. It looks to be the lower links. Yeah. Some front ones. Those are going to go in here. Let's add straight rod in so you don't got to worry about it. Here. By 18s, I don't know if it's telling you to put them on, so trust and believe it, right? Get the thumb there, Vaseline on there, make sure it's lined up. Slide its little home right there. Start screwing it in. Not gotta go all crazy on the tightness. We have another 3x18 with Vaseline to help with the threads on the plastic. Let's do that. There we go. So we got front lowers, front upper, let's do some rear ones. so there is all of your links assembled. Gonna give you a nice little imagery here. Stuff like that. That'll start looking like. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Like I said, we're gonna start looking like a truck here soon, guys. Pretty excited for it. Pretty excited. Alright, so that's your F1, F2 portion there. And we'll start getting things ready here for F3 and F4. Alright, F3 time, guys. F3 time. So, I'm going to be getting this servo onto this chassis brace here, which will second as your servo mount. Alright, so it'll look like that. Gonna have a little bracket that looks a little something like this here. Like that. Alright, that's gonna be an AXA115, which is gonna be one 10mm button. Alright. Grab your 2mm driver again. Full Vaseline for some lube action using a threading. Alright. Looks like that will be facing upwards, coming down. If I think I have this correctly, like that. It should go here, I believe it's trying to say. Going the way it should be looking. That should be facing kind of towards the back end like that. Oh, like this. Make sure you get it facing the right direction. It'll be facing inwards. Looks like it'll be an adjustable length servo mount. That way you gotta adjust some width or something or anything like that for a servo, you can do that. Leave it a little loosen like that, I guess, or let's see if we can like press all the way in. Straight. Let's see, once it's time to do that, which is right now, it's kind of telling me to like load the servo horn on, but we won't do that until we power up the electronics, so that way we can have it centered. So we won't apply that just yet, like it's telling you to, which is going to be the 1185, which is that 10mm flathead. Yeah, we won't use that one yet. We'll have it ready, but we won't use it yet. So we're going to get this guy, and by the looks of this diagram, I think that I can see we're going to want your actual servo horn part facing the front of this brace, which is going to show these three holes. The backside doesn't have any screw type like mount holes right there like that, so will be the front side like this. It should mount like that. That closest to the front, so it can have your steering, your servo link lined up properly. Alright, so once we do that, it's telling you to apply some M3x10 like servo horns or servo screws, but since I have those grommets for the ProTech one, I'm going to be using those here. So you can supply in that bag, open them up, get them out. We'll just apply one of these grommets inside there. Grab one of these screws that are supplied with it, which are very nice. I like them. A little bit of Vaseline for some lubrication going in. Trying to get that bad boy slowly screwed in here. I don't know how easy these ones will be to screw in since they are maybe different than the stock ones. I think we got some traction going here. Yep. Sure that grommet is actually slid into place before we start like trying to tighten everything. Go any crazy tight on them yet, because we got to make sure they're all lined up good. Do one on each side. We can kind of have them lined up, held in place on both sides. You know what I'm saying? These are just a little tougher to get in than probably the stock ones are, just because they are some different types of screws that are provided with the kit. Try to get that grommet down. pretty easy going, guys. Pretty easy going. Alright, so that is your steering servo. Mount it onto it. Go on. Alright. Next part I'm going to tell you to start getting together is going to be your driver's side shock tower with the pan hard bar mount. So, you'll place it together like this. Designed to fit just like that, so it'll go together just like that. You're doing the straight axle kit like I am. Make sure you use the straight axle pan hard bar mount. Alright, so get that. That one requires AXA10.3. That one's going to be the M8 guy right here. Alright, 8mm guy. Groove action. Make sure it's sandwiched together. Load it home. And start screwing. Let the Vaseline guide it in. Alright. And 3x8. I'm going to tell you to use Axial10.3 which is the 14mm button head. Alright. And that's going to go ahead and put on what looks to be your pan hard. Alright, so we'll grab your pan hard. And we'll look into our straight axle instructions real quickly here. See how I need to mount that on there because it's curved. It's got some curved length area, so I just want to make sure which way the curved part goes. So upwards, okay. These guys will mount upwards like that on your axle. Alright. So that will go behind. The screw will screw on into that extra plastic back there, okay? So again, a little bit of Vaseline to help you out in this process. Spread into some plastic here. Right. Go like this. Get on through. Thread them home. Gosh. Alright, I think it's tight. Very squeaky. Alright, so that'll go like this. Got those guys done accordingly. Set those off like that with all that completed stuff. We're going to move on to let's see this little screw guy here. That way we know that's where he's supposed to go. We don't lose them. Alright. Over there. Now we'll do M4. 4 is going to be grabbing what says to be Axial10.3, which is a frame rail. And just the axial symbol on it. It'll be this one. It'll be for the front like that. Alright. And it'll just have a lonely axial symbol on it. The one that'll say axial on it will be for the rear end, so this will be your front frame rail. Looks like it's going to tell you to grab this guy. It's also going to tell you to grab the front bumper mount here. This front bumper mount. He will be mounted there, alright? That's going to have one of these body mount jigs. So that's how it mounts. So, yep. That will be for that side like this. That's how they'll mount like that. Alright. So, we'll put one screw onto that bumper piece right there, which we won't do just yet because we've got to sandwich on some other parts, it looks like here. So we'll just have this right here ready. Alright. Looks like we're going to get this guy a little bit ready here because we will be using him to sandwich on most of these parts. So you can see it just fits the frame rail as such. Just line it up. Okay. And then we're going to use first here. Let's see how these things kind of line up real quickly. Alright, so that one I'll use that screw over there. Okay. So we'll grab an AXA146. AXA146 is an M3x12 flathead, like this guy, alright? And we're gonna do some tricky stuff here. Some Vaseline on this guy. I'm gonna slide him through the rear frame rail parts right here. Like that. Okay. It's gonna poke through a little bit. We're going to go ahead, slide this guy out of these frame rails as such, huh? Like that, right? There we go. So that way you're sure. Sorry, I had it wrong. Servo will mount up to the driver's side like that, alright guys? Pull it all together, screw it all together. Snugness there. Yep. It's all lined up in there nice. And for the front portion, it'll be going through the pan hard, through the frame rail onto this cross bracing, and also will be a AXL 235109, which is an M3x114 or M3x14 button head here. Should be one of those in that section. And we'll just start getting them through right there, okay? Very good plastics. Very good plastics. Just hard to sometimes get a little line there. Once you got it, you got it. Everything's secured. Alright, we're good. Alright. That's it. That's it, somewhat attached there. Kind of like how it should be looking so far. I might screw that up a little bit, huh? So this guy was supposed to go in there. I don't know if we can sneak it in there. If we have to back this out a little bit, we'll see. Alright, cool. And we'll grab an AXA146 again. That's a 12mm flathead. And grab that guy. Look at his new home. So he will be sliding right on through this mount here. Alright. And he will be going through to be the front bumper mount. Once you do that one, we'll end up with that. Just trying to see what this is trying to tell me here. 185, which is an M3x10 by his lonely self flathead. It'll go into the other portion of the bumper mount there. Looking pretty good so far there. Let's see. Now that we got this bracket shock tower with that mounted, just making sure everything is A-OK. Should be good. Everything looks good. Each portion it's telling us to put on here is going to be one of your side plates. So let's get that lined up. Slide in there like that. Okay. I'll slide in the frame rail notch in there to its home. And to line up accordingly. Alright. AX10.3 and 3x8 button head there. And we'll go on the front, every front portion here. Threads in on both sides here, so start threading. Straight through, huh? Camera view, sorry guys. Alright, we got it, boys. We got it. Alright. Up next. We're gonna add a rear frame rail action, I guess, now. We'll slide that in, inside. Don't know what its actual length is. It's supposed to be just yet, but we'll figure that out, right? Let's kind of set it up like that as such for now. And we'll see what's going to start telling me like that just once it's kind of to add the rear frame rail. We won't put together because we're going to add on the rear shock tower. So shock mount plates will be more towards the inside of the, or towards the center of the truck that way, alright? This will be a rear frame rail that's going to go with it like that, okay? Okay. You're going to mount that right there with those two holes, okay? And to do that, we will use Axial10.3, which is one of those 12 millimeters. You need this like a little cradle thing back here, alright? That's gonna be like such for the rear, going towards the where the motor would be or something, you know. We'll kind of get him. Right in through there. Now we're gonna go ahead and start getting this guy mounted. So it'll be on this middle hole here of the three. Start getting that plastic threaded. Threading pretty good. Kind of just chassis. If you want to do that, then we'll just thread it through. Maybe it wants to do that. Axial10.3 on the back end back there too. Okay. Coming together, looking like a truck. Coming together, looking like a truck. I'm really enjoying this. Enjoying this build, guys. I don't know if you're enjoying it. I know it's boring, but you get to watch me build a truck. A nice, beautiful Axial product, which everyone loves. And then I can start hitting up Axial Fest. Finally. Finally. Alright, so we got that like now. Now we'll just add on the rear body post thingamajigger, I guess it's looking like, or it's probably for the interior or something. But it looks like this. Okay. A lot of pictures. So, face down. It's different lengths on both sides, so I'm just trying to figure it out, but I think the shorter side is going to go here, the longer side towards the back, I think. These are going to mount up here, Just when I try and cozy them up to their spot, that'll let me know what looks better, I guess, huh? Mount to frontwards a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of really hard to tell from the manual. Really saying the short side up front, so go with the shorter looking end towards the front, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so I guess we'll try that and see if that's kind of the way. And that's going to take a couple more of those AXA146 12mm button heads. Alright, that's F3 and F4. Respectfully, we're looking good, guys. Gonna be some F5 and F6 action coming up now. Let me just go ahead and get a little prepared here for it, and get back to you. Oh yeah, well, while we're here, it's not ended just yet, but here's kind of some of your completed work on your driver's side frame rail, getting everything together. Alright, looking nice. Driver's side, frame rails, coming together, looking good. Looks like it'll be a truck soon enough here. Looks like it'll be a truck soon enough here. We'll just kind of line up some holes just for fun, but there you go. We're looking like an SCX10.3, guys. So get ready. Alright guys, F5, F6 time. We're gonna go ahead and get this show moving along still. So it's going to tell you we're going to use two M3 by 12mm button head screws. Alright, so got those two there. Your 2mm hex driver. You're going to grab your two frame rails here and get them together, alright? So to do so, what you will do is you're going to slide them together, okay? And you're going to line up the first hole here and what looks to be the fifth hole. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth hole and first hole will need to line up, okay? So to do so, we'll line up our first hole here, and the fifth hole will line up accordingly. Alright? Make sure everything's aligned from what I can see inside here. have those lined up. We will implement the center skid here, which is going to really make things a lot of fun, huh? So you'll get your mounting holes lined up. There's a couple of like plastic dowel pins too to guide it, line it up just right on the frame rails also. Wow, lots of fun. All these links, lots of fun. Alright, so what I guess we can maybe try, let's just get these bad boys through here first so we can get the chassis lined up a little bit. Like that. Well, let's see if we can back it out, because we do need to put some Vaseline on it to help it get into the center skid plate there. A little bit extra because it's going to have to slide through all of this stuff, so that way, at least as it's sliding through, it'll coat all the threads for you. There we go. Grab the other one, we'll get that one all ready so we can at least have them there already. Alright, we'll have those kind of ready. We'll be doing things upside down a little bit here, it looks like, so just make sure you got your links set up, the 4 links in the back, 3 links in the front. Alright. We'll just kind of get them started a little bit, is what I want. At least what my goal is. Kind of got it going. We'll kind of press it in more. Make sure those little pins go right into the frame rails nicely. And then we'll just continue to keep threading. And we have half of the frame rails attached over here, guys. just like it says to do. Alright, so that's the F5 portion. F6 is going to be getting the other side on, alright? So, it's going to tell you to go ahead and start on the rear end of our cylinder, okay? Pins are lined up. Yeah, this is gonna be a little fun, guys, because you know, just got a bunch of extra stuff just dangling around while you're trying to get this all together. It's all good. It's all good. The part it's really gonna tell you to focus on, I'm sorry, I'm just getting off track there, but we're gonna get another one of these rear ones on. Alright. That one's gonna need 2. Well, actually, it's going to use 4. 4 of the M3x12 AXA116 flatheads, you know. I'm all ready over here. It says 4 of them. Alright. So, do like we did. Those lubed up a little bit. Slide it through that frame rail. Alright. Oops. That's the spot we're looking for, that's why. Grabbing him home. Make sure these are all lined up too. Too tight yet, just in case you need to adjust the rear shock tower on the other side, alright? Oops, I think I went a little too far. One sec, because I do need to get this guy in there. Really telling me what screws to use, so I just kind of ignored it for a second, huh? Okay, so we'll go with booger right on in there. Got a couple plastic dowel clips that'll just pop into there. Either way, it'll pop down all the way together like that. Chugging along. Chugging along. Those ones in. We got these top ones up here aligned. Is it aligned? Grab a couple more of those flatheads. Next day 146, 12 millimeter flatheads. Carried away there, huh? Oh, not carried away, just got lost in there. You got lost in the sauce. Got lost in the sauce. Don't go too tight there just yet. There it is. I was like, oh, I grabbed all of them. I counted them out. Ran away. Alright, that's that. And it says that we implement those, but it doesn't tell me what to use to tighten it in with yet, so it'll just be in place there until it tells what screws to put in. Alright, so we got a rear shock tower on completed back there. Next up, it's going to tell us to get the other frame rail attached with its little kick plate here. We'll just see that everything's all lined up. Should be, because yeah, everything's lined up, because that's the way it should be, right? Should be. Yep. Alright, let's put that. It's not good. So, let's be, should be. Reset this cable. XA116 and 3x12s. Yeah. Two of them. I got an 8mm, right? Okay. You off to the side there. Line this up a little bit better. Alright, we'll just kind of just try and go for it, right? And send it. Yeah, we're gonna hope for the best on this part, guys. This part's gonna be a little fun, I think. A lot of that Vaseline going. And we'll get it into the center mounting point here. Let's see if we can start making any progress towards its home. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun to do. Let's try this again. Somewhere, boys. Get somewhere. Sick. Sick. All right. Alright, one of them done. One of them done. Oh yeah. That one and made the other side so much easier. Still snug. Still snug. Alright. Got all that funness put together there. Alright. That's it for your F6. We just need to get this one little dude here on the front portion of that side plate. Get on there, buddy. This will be the N3 by 8mm button head, and that's going to go right on the front of this, which was fun to put on the last time. Links up and out the way with. We could apply some pressure on the other side. These are fastened. Alright, so that's the end of F6, so we'll move it over to F7 here. F7 is going to require two. Well, let's see first. What's the first ones I'm going to start using? The first ones I'm going to start using are AXA146. I need 4 of those flathead 12mm. Like I said, you just size them up to the manual. And just find 3 more matching sized ones for them. Four of those, 2 10mm flatheads, 2 and 3x12s button heads. Excuse me. Alright, let's see where this all goes there. Grab one of the four for the front shock tower here. We're going to be assembling. Mounts right up there, alright. Don't forget, this time Trevor, one of these little mounts, alright? Side right. I believe so. He's got his own little doodly dot going on, so you don't gotta worry about getting him sandwiched in there because that was a pan hard mount over there. Don't got a pan hard mount on the passenger side, so you don't gotta worry about getting him sandwiched on there. He'll go on his own. Kind of what it looks like when it's run in. Alright. That's the tin attached. I'm going to grab this little body post bracket for the hidden body posts. Those are going to line up right over here. Two holes to line up with, and that'll use a X31185, which is the 10mm button heads. We're going on to the bumper mounts. Get in, huh? A little bit. $5 to 10 mils. check after you get them all on there. Alright. So that'll be that part right there. Next up, it is it's telling us to go ahead and drop the good old transmission in, huh? Well, good thing I've got that guy on standby over here, huh? He was on standby. Huh. Alright. So you won't see that part getting installed. You'll see the transition going in, but yeah, it's going to tell you to drop it in. We're going to need AXA10.3, which will be the button heads going up top, and the flat heads, the 12mm flat heads will go on the bottom. Go ahead and get that aligned. It says bottom gets 12mm flatheads. That's where it'll be going right there, alright guys? Right down in there. When I let go, it doesn't fall off. A little snug. Definitely don't want to over tighten these ones. Maybe pierce into the transmission. If not, you just don't want to strip one of these in general. It sucks. But there you go. Got that dude mounted on there. Did a terrible job of mounting it though, huh? Because... okay, cool. Cool. Alright. So, that is that looking together. We're going to put 2 more of these button head 12mm on. Let's go right on these motor mounts here. Perfect. These tranny mounts. There we go. And the last M312 right here, going on the other side. This setup must be a pain in the booty now. Ooh. Looks like we got those on nicely now. Transmission mounts. Looking good, looking good. Alright, so we got those there. And looks like that'll complete the F7 portion. Hopefully we can kind of access everything I need to access there. We'll see. Probably pretty good. And what did it say? Drivetrain assembly for F8. Alright, well, let's take a quick break because I gotta get everything out for the front drivetrain. But yeah, there we go, guys. Got some links. A chassis that has been assembled. It's got the transmission on it. We're looking good. Looking good, guys. We're coming along. We're getting a truck together here. So stay tuned, because it's looking beautiful. Hey guys. Alright. So we left off on F10 section in the manual, which at this point for myself, I am going to start using the solid or the straight axle manual more, because this is telling me how to put the straight axles up onto the chassis instead of the portal axle stuff there. There are some differences in screw sizes at some spots, so that is why I gotta use it. And some other just good information for this area that I'm on anyways. So as you can see, we have our chassis. We have our rear axle, which has SSD brass straight axles weights there, meant specifically straight for the straight axle, and the SSD brass diff cover there. When I popped the diff covers open, they were very well greased inside there, so everything was all good on that point there. Everything looked really good, very lubricated, so we just left it as is. It's your rear axle there. This is your front axle with the SSD brass steering knuckles and SSD brass diff cover with the aluminum SSD C-hubs here. I know this pan hard mount here on the axle is a weak point, for the portal areas. Everyone uses the what is it? The Bauhaus upgrade there, but I was kind of worried about that for myself here. But now SSD has provided some aluminum C-hubs for the straight axle conversion, which is very nice. Pretty stoked about that. So we have all those good upgrades in there. Everything's all nice and good with those, so no worries on that department. And we'll go ahead and get ready to start mounting these bad boys up. Kind of got everything organized in a fashion over here, screw sizes that I'm going to be needing accordingly and stuff like that. So we'll just go ahead and start getting into it here. The front portion is just going to be getting those axles up there. You guys hear some noise right now. My cat's being a weirdo. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're going to move this a little bit more into sight here. We will be using it on what it's on here. It's a nice little rotating chassis stand. Circulate it to get the front towards us. Just like that. Get this thing loaded up just under here. These guys all ready. They look ready. Look ready. We'll adjust those links and everything accordingly for the straight axle conversion. Once we get everything bolted up, because it does have those holes in the middle where you can just rotate the rods, because they are cross-threaded on both sides, so that way you can adjust the links that way. So we'll be doing that. Right now we're going to look on part 9 in the straight axle kit, where it's telling you, you know, how to mount up the first portions of your bottom links here. So we're going to start it by, well, just really getting it up in there. Trying to get that up and out of the way with. Get that little slid into its first lower link here, which will be a little fun. They always are. Oh. And it says we will use an M3x14 to get that going. So we'll use a 2mm driver for the screw. And we'll be going in there. Lined up, there we go, get that screw through. It'll line up eventually, right? There we go. Aha. Alright. And M10 is going to tell you to put another M3x14 through for the upper and the lower link. That same process. I'll let the drive shaft do his own thing. Make sure we can get that third link up in here. Like, yeah. and repeat the process of getting the link into its home on the axle housing. I'd actually have to take the steering knuckle back off, put the shocks on. We'll see, because they are pretty huge. A little snug, not tight, you know the business. One more. Get this upper link all situated. Alright, so it looks like it threads in on both sides. With the plastic soap. Try our best not left-handed, so a little rough for me to try and start into some new plastic. My non-dominant hand. tightened up there. And those are the 2 screws it tells you to put in for the part 10 section in the straight axle booklet. Section 11 is going to tell you AXA116, which is an M3x12 for the panhard, which is a different size than the supplied one that's used on the Portal one. Got all that extra weight up there now, you know what I'm saying? Got a new slogan. Got a new slogan. I don't want to say it on my channel though. Even though I do have it marked as non-kid friendly. I know kids still watch it. But you'll see the hashtag on Instagram. Gotta get a little Loctite here because it's a metal screw going on to an aluminum C-hub. So you want to make sure you got some Loctite on there. Give it a little snug. That way the Loctite can sit and settle and cure nice and good. And it says you can do the other 12mm that puts this guy here onto your servo horn. Just let me grab another one of those 12mm length ones. We'll Loctite on it. Go ahead and just put it right into your servo horn there. Oops. Oh, we got some of the Loctite on threads now, but sure. Slides through underneath somehow, somewhere, somehow. Okay. Started by finger here. Nice and snug. And it'll be ready to mount up to my steering servo once I power up all the electronics and I can center the servo horn and then, you know, actually place it on there. But for now, it'll just kind of dangle. It'll just kind of dangle. Alright, so we've got that all diddly-dadded up. And now, section 12. He's going to be telling me to start mounting some of these 100mm shocks out. So here's one of them. Alrighty. We're going to start over here on the driver's side. Driver's side requires the 18mm compared to 20mm up top. Okay. Make sure you just get the spacer side going this way. We'll be going into plastic right there. So actually, let me get a little bit of this Vaseline. help it get things going in there. This plastic is tough. And we're going to go with just the upper middle hole here. I'm going to go with a nice straight up and down approach in the front end. And in the rear end, I will bring it to the closer inner hole towards the center of the chassis, just to give it a little bit of forward lean. I don't know, a lot more people like to do lots of different shock mounting positions, you know, like bringing them all the way in and all that crazy stuff. I like to keep them a little bit more trail simple, straight in the front, just a little raked in the rear, you know, just try and keep them real trucks. You know, the capability stuff is not really up my alley, so we go with a little bit more real stuff. So that's that one there. On the bottom, this is a 109 last 3, which is a 14 mil. Got a 14 mil right now. 14 mil gonna go on the bottom. And these are gonna mount on this top portion right above your links there. Alrighty. Let's just make sure that both sides are the same. Yes, they are. Alright. Better. Let's go into some plastic so that we get some of this here. Vaseline. Right on the tippy tip of it. Just a little bit, just need a little bit to help me. We'll start getting it into its home over here. We're able just to turn steering knuckles all the way instead of having to take them off to do the shocks, unlike one of my other trucks where I gotta completely remove the whole C-hub. Oh my god, it's such a pain in the butt. The steering knuckle and everything attached, and pull the axle out and all that stuff just to get a shock on this one. Good, I just gotta do that. Perfect. Alright, cool. Yeah. That looking good on that side. Now let's make it look good on the other side. Where's the other one? Yep. Yellow up top. For front is how I remember. Oh shoot. Oh, broke the shock. It's broken now. But yeah. Yellow dot up top for front is how I did it to memorize it for myself. This one's going to require the M3x20 to go up top. Because it is a little thicker up on that shock tower, that's why it gets M3x8 or 20 instead of 18 on the driver's side one. We'll attempt this left-handed. Get a little ambidextrous going. And then another 3x14 on the bottom. Oop. Alright, so that's the 12 parts and straight axle version. The 13 portion. So to move on to the rear end there, I guess it just never told you to put the drive shaft back on. Kind of waiting to see if the manual would tell you to do that, but it didn't. Hopefully it fits. Of course it doesn't, huh? I wish like somewhere in that portion it would have told you to go ahead and put the front drive shaft back on. It always showed it off in the pictures when doing all this extra stuff here, so. I'll just undo this lower guy down here. I put a shim in between this coupler and the input pin in there, so that way it can't like try and squeeze too much pressure on it on the front end, so the pin doesn't push like too hard into the diff gear. Try and give a little separation. Da, 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 you know what I'm saying? Alright. And remind me later, guys, I still got to put some dry graphite lube in these shafts here. Get that lower link back on, since he was kind enough to come off for us. This one's such a pest. There we go. Alright, so that's all tightened up, all done there. That is going to be your front end all done up. It's a little stiff right now. I probably got to do some little adjusting with the knuckles and stuff like that, or just let everything break in. But that's your front all mounted up, looking pretty. It's time to kind of start crack-a-lacking on this rear end here. One here. Alright, so 13 is going to be my rear shock. Removal, skip that one, skip that one. Say 120 to 25 millimeters, so that one's going to go through the top. Alright, yep. Alright, so you're going to need a 3 by 25 millimeter. Go all the way through the top there. That's going to be showing on part 17. I don't have to do the other parts because I'm not taking the original stuff off the chassis. So we'll be at 17 now. And then it's going to be getting this thing going here. Like that, alright. So start with your rear upper links mounting in here. That's right, I said rear upper links. Go here, right up top. Once those are lined in there, get the screw through, 2mm hex driver, and start screwing it in. Ah! That's all good. Then we'll turn the page and get to section 18. And that will be telling you to start putting on some of these shocks here. Alrighty. Please give me some of these more 14s. And a 20. One of these M20s. Where is the M20? M20 for the top. And 14 for the bottom, which is one of these, plenty of these. That bag, right. 14 will be on the bottom. Link. And the bottom shock. One for the top. Grab one of the rear shocks. Put the yellow dot on the bottom to let me know rear. And these are the 100mm shocks we are running because I want to try them out. Worst case, I built the 90mm with you on camera, and we can put the 90mm on and lose some of the clearance that we gained. And this one we're going to mount in the one forward position towards the center of the chassis. I think it tells you to do in the manual, which is kind of cool, but that's where we're going to mount ours anyways. This is where I might have screwed the pooch a little too early with the brass parts on the rear axle. Because they will be in the way. Get them in. Or at least put this screw in. And 6. It's not hard to do. I just hate having to undo things I already did. Let's get this guy up and in here so we can at least get the rear drive shaft on so we don't run into that same issue we did on the front. We got one of these little shims that I do. the same. I always put one on the input pinion gear and in between the coupler majigger.
Si l'on s'aimait à se promettre l'éternité, si l'on vivait ivre d'amour comme dans les contes et des histoires, si l'on laissait couler les jours en profitant de chaque pas, malgré nos douleurs et nos craintes, en se serrant fort dans les bras. Si l'on s'aimait encore une fois, si l'on s'aimait
Shock in there either. I think the brass axle lights in the rear needed to wait until I got all this stuff done. Yeah. Alright, well. Guess you guys will get to see how all that works then, huh? Gotta get this set screw out of here to remove. Set screw, remove your axle, your wheel nuts, hex nut and jigger. Gonna need a 2mm hex driver to back up the supplied flathead screws for the axle weights. Okay. It's gonna be the same on this side. Grab our other rear shocker. By 20 going in up top. Rear axle weight's back on. Rear axle weight's back on. There it is, boys and girls. Rear axle all mounted up. Its links. Oh yeah. I'm stoked. We've got a truck. Got a truck, everyone. It's coming along. Look at that bad boy. It's just about ready. Almost, kind of, sort of. We're kind of getting there. Alright. And I think the rest of this is manual accordingly. Okay, I think I'm kind of done with it. Alright, so let's see where that kind of puts us. It'll be F9, F10. Well, that's it, boys and girls, because, that's it. F10 is the end of it. So we kind of finished everything up in the straight axle manual there. It'll be G1, G2, G3, G4 next, which is, you know, getting your mini shift linkage servo things all set up, and your receiver box assembly, your battery tray assembly, stuff like that, which I'm going to be using the rear one back here. That way I can kind of like counteract a lot of the heavy weight on this chassis right now, because we'll have, obviously, it's servo, the motor's going to be sitting up here, the tranny's more forward mounted, these knuckles are heavier than what's going on in the rear end, you know, so right now it is a little bit front biased, and it'll get more front biased. When actually, I guess we can finish up this F section with a nice little surprise. I know it's not part of F section, it was actually supposed to be done earlier, but look at this, boys and girls. My Spectrum Firma 2-in-1 crawler 2300 kV brushless motor E and ESC system has arrived. So this will be going in and giving him life, which I guess we can go ahead and install right now for you, because it's going to be very, very easy to do so. And it needed to be done anyways, but I just didn't have it. So we'll go ahead and get crack-a-lacking on it, because it's very simple. This will be a bonus to your F section at the end if you've watched all 900 hours of this video here. I know it's a long one, I'm sorry guys. It's just the way I'm doing things. Like I said, it's going to be very live recorded. And very, yeah, so. If you've watched all of it, I appreciate you. We'll go on your 14 and 14 numbered engine plate here, motor plate, thingamajigger motor plate. Alright, 1414. Probably gonna want to get some Loctite to help it get in there and stay in there, type deal. The numbers will be on the inside, so you will not see the numbers, alright? should I have done? Whoops. Just revert back a little bit. On that one, right? Darn. Got ahead of myself. Should have put the pinion gear on first, folks. But that's alright. That's what you get for watching me first, because I'll mess up for you. Motor to its flat portion on the motor shaft there, alright. That's where the set pin goes in. This little set screw majigger keeps it in place. A little Loctite to it, so you don't ever have to go back in there again and worry about that coming loose on you. The way I'm going to sit it is just going to be like flush with the shaft like that. I think that'll probably be the best location. Let's see. I don't really feel about setting further out on the motor shaft like that. Trying to what I'm seeing here is it looks like it's going to be Alright, so you got those. Snug and tidied. Time to introduce your friend to his home. It'll mount all up in there. All nice and good, I think. Find out when we try and put this guy on, huh? I think so. Put that on. Let me check where the meshing is at. It should be good. It's half on, half off there, so whatever. Should be good. It's touching. Yeah, boys, we've got an engine. And then it'll have your, instruction manual, something everyone needs to read and look into. So, answering a lot of questions. Some zip ties in there too to help tidy all this up once you're finished getting everything where you want it to be. Get it all done nice and neat like. So, yeah. So the receiver box will be probably on this side or this side. Hopefully that wiring's all long enough. Yeah, you can see, geez. But yeah, I'm hoping that my Spectrum tuner I've got for all my other systems work for this as well. So that way we can tune it and all that other fun stuff. But yeah. There we are, guys. We're at the end of that F section, like I said. That was the fun section, because look at all the fun we had doing this section. We've got dang near a complete truck. Dang near a complete truck. We've got axles mounted to the chassis. The chassis is fully assembled. All the plastics that go along with the chassis there to make it assembled. It's got the braces, front and rear, shock towers, bumper mounts, your transmission, your center skid, your side plates, sweet axles with those sweet SSDRC brass parts. Sweet SSDRC brass parts. Nice Firma Spectrum 2-in-1 crawler system. Nice ProTech 370 TBL steering servo. Yeah, guys. Fun section. Definitely. F for fun. F for fun. I hope you guys have enjoyed the F section. I'll kind of get down here and personal with you a little bit, huh? But, yeah, no, I hope you really enjoyed F section. F section brought us a lot of fun. A great truck. Lots of fun. Easy to build. Except for C. Transmission. A little not so fun. But we got it done. Everything seems to be operating perfectly right now, which I'm stoked about. can't wait to get it running and show you guys the final product. The paint color I have decided to go with. I actually just came up with a new color I'm going to be doing. So, it was going to be green. I'll tell you the color it was going to be green. It was going to be bright green, Tamiya bright green. And we're gonna throw that one out the window, and I got a nice surprise for you. It's gonna be a cool color. If you know me and my favorite color and the loudness that I like in colors, you probably can guess what color it will be. So go ahead and put your guesses in the comments. Other than that, we'll see you next time, guys, when we get to the G section. I hope you guys have a great week, great weekend. Enjoy all of your RC toys out there and just being great RC neighbors. All right, everyone? Thank you. Like, share, subscribe, and comment to all the fun stuff. Keep it going. We really appreciate you here at Silver State RC Adventures, and I really do hope you're enjoying the build. Sorry for the long videos. They will get shorter and more fun, hopefully. And we'll start getting into a lot more of the regular content going onto the channel, since we're doing a lot of focusing on this build right now. But thank you guys. We'll see you later, RC neighbors.